Australian business conditions showed ongoing resilience to higher interest rates and elevated price pressures, while consumer confidence fell further into deeply pessimistic territory, highlighting the divergent responses of the education, corporate, and household sectors to tighter policy. Business conditions, which measure sales, employment, and profitability, rose 2 points to 13 in August and held above the average level since the start of the year, a National Australia Bank Limited survey showed Tuesday. Confidence was steady at 2 points, implying optimists outnumber pessimists. And businesses continue to report very high levels of capacity utilization, suggesting that even with growth slowing, the balance of supply and demand in the economy remains very tight overall, said Alan Oster, chief economist at NAB. Price growth also remains elevated, which reflects the considerable cost pressures businesses are facing, as well as the ongoing resilience of demand. A separate household survey from Westpac Banking Corp released an hour earlier showed consumer sentiment slipped 1.5% to 79.7 points in September, as pessimists heavily outnumber optimists with 156 posted building. And the dividing line in the index has held a range of 70-86 over the past year. The surveys underscore the persistent difference between Australia's heavily indebted households and its corporate sector that suggests businesses are better able to cope with higher borrowing costs. NAB's survey showed leading indicators strengthened in a positive sign for the economy, with forward orders up 1 point and capacity utilization hitting 85.1%. At the same time, labor costs eased to 3.2% in quarterly equivalent terms from 3.7% in the 3 months through June. Final price growth, which includes purchase costs, edged down to 1.7% from 1.9% in the second quarter. The Reserve Bank is currently in watch and wait mode after 12 rate hikes since May last year to take the cash rate to an 11-year high of 4.1% as it tries to gain control over inflation. While consumer prices have begun to recede, a robust labor market and strengthening wage growth have policymakers ready to tighten further if needed. And Westpac's poll was conducted September 4th, spanning the RBA's September 5th meeting when it left the cash rate unchanged for a third straight month, suggesting the pause is failing to lift the mood of Australian consumers. Since the survey began in 1974, the only comparable period of such sustained weakness was during the recession of the early 1990s, said Bill Evans, chief economist at Westpac. Persistent pessimism has continued, despite easing fears of further interest rate rises. A gauge of the outlook for household spending, the time to buy a major household item, sub-index fell 3% to 76. This component is particularly troubling because some like the overall index and the other components, it is tracking well below the levels seen in the recession of the early 1990s. They haven't said the average during that period was a much milder 91. He added